Left, got the blueprint, study my movement, more than the 2 cents. Was losing, now I'm oozing with success. Now I got the tools to beat the stress.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. There are things that happen in wrestling sometimes that are just absolutely uncalled for, that are stupid to the 6th power. And I think Triple H went beyond that on this episode of Monday Night Raw. He went so stupid that it was almost as if some dumbass is playing WWE 2K17 or something like that and decided to do the stupidest match possible. It's like somebody sat around their Dungeons and Dragons table and dreamed up quite possibly the stupidest, most fan fiction scenario that they could ever come up with and decided to do that for the main event of Monday Night Raw. It was so stupid. It was flaming hell hot stupid. It was so stupid, in fact. It was what we used to call remedial. You would have to, it was literally dyslexic booking. It was, in some ways, worse than anything Tony Khan has ever done. And on par with some of the bad decisions Vince Russo has done. It was that dumb. It was dumb. It was offensively stupid. There was nothing about it that could in any way be viewed as a positive. Whether you like that person or not, what you did was objectively damage 2 major concepts with no benefit whatsoever. None. Obviously I'm talking about the main event of Raw, because the main event of Raw, I need to talk about it right now. Seth Rollins has an open challenge. First, we've got Mustafa Ali. He comes out, he's going to talk before he tries to fight Rollins. Lashley destroys him, beats him up, says he's going to fight Rollins. Mustafa Ali tries to fight Lashley. Lashley wrecks him. Lashley comes out, he completely destroys Rollins. He beats Rollins so badly that officials and other people deem that Rollins can't really continue. So they start pulling Lashley away. At this moment, Austin Theory cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase on the United States Championship in the main event of a Raw in front of a dead crowd in what was this, Wilkes-Barre? Then proceeds to not be able to beat up an already wrecked Rollins who had been spinebustered through a table and rammed into the ring post multiple times. He couldn't beat that guy, and he still managed to lose. Well, Lashley pulled him out after he hit his finish, ran him into the ring post, and, kind of knocked him out too. But the amount of embarrassment, like the literal definition of being buried in wrestling is to do something to a guy that makes him look incredibly foolish. That's what this is. There is no 2 ways about it. Under no circumstances would anybody ever who held the Money in the Bank briefcase, regardless of however long, use it on a mid-card title. No one would ever do that. No, you think that it's possible that somebody could do that? It doesn't make any sense. All right? That alone doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Okay? You have to be an apologist of Triple H to even come to that point and say, oh yeah, the United States Championship, yeah, sure. Now, when they was teasing the NXT title, I was like, I didn't like that either. But at least it would have made a little bit more sense, considering we saw the NXT Championship be something that you can challenge for after winning the Royal Rumble. All right. Okay. And plus, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, they're in the same age bracket. NXT could use some star power. Braun Breaker could use an opponent. Okay. I don't like it. It's a step down for Theory, but at least it's something. The United States title is literally a mid-card belt. Oh, but Seth Rollins has it. He's a top guy. I wouldn't, if he's not fucking Brock Lesnar or Undertaker, if you're the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion, you're a mid-carder. All right? You're in the mid-card. Well, this is a mid-card belt. All right? You could be upper mid-card, lower mid-card. This is a mid-card belt. Seth Rollins was literally feuding with Mustafa Ali. This ain't no main event title. All right? This ain't a main event belt. So, he cashed in his Money in the Bank on a mid-card title. On a already beat up Seth Rollins. And lost. It is the single most embarrassing Money in the Bank cash-in ever perpetrated upon the American public. It completely wrecked the reputation of the Money in the Bank briefcase. And of this young career of Austin Theory. In 2004, a little history lesson for some of you who might not have been around. There's a shoot interview that was done. It was Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They were working for TNA doing the Voodoo Ken Mafia stuff. It was embarrassing. But they were on their podcast, or they were doing a shoot interview or whatever, talking about how Triple H is putting the screws to Randy Orton. This would have been around the same time, between 04 and 06. And how, you know, Randy should be better off than the position that he was in. Randy Orton was about this same age, 24, 25, 26 or whatever. And you saw that Randy won the world title from Chris Benoit, and they immediately took it away from him because Randy wasn't ready yet. And what did that mean? It meant that Triple H got it back. The very next month, they did this storyline where Triple H kept wrestling Chris Benoit and couldn't win. And then Randy Orton did wrestle him and beat him. And then Triple H beat Randy Orton just as a way to get Triple H the belt back. And then Randy didn't get the belt back. He lost all his rematches. But it was all because Randy wasn't ready yet. Oh, he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready yet. Bianca Belair sitting in NXT. Triple H is pushing literally everybody except Bianca Belair. He's brought Charlotte back. He's got Kairi Sane. He's pushing her. He's pushing Rhea. I don't mind Rhea. He's pushing Shayna Baszler. I don't really mind her. You know, Io Shirai and Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae. All these people are getting spots. Bianca can't get a spot. She's not ready yet. She's not ready yet. That they're not ready. What the fuck does that even mean? This shit is fixed. All right? It's fixed. If they're not ready, figure it out. But you don't take somebody who has potential and fuck them in this way. And look, it's not just because, oh, you're an Austin Theory fanboy. I wouldn't care if it was Johnny Gargano. I wouldn't care if it was Natalya. You don't take somebody who has some potential and then put them in a situation to make them look absolutely stupid. Something that you would never do with somebody that you actually like. If you don't want Austin Theory to have the Money in the Bank briefcase, you had numerous options. You could have had him be cocky and put the briefcase up against somebody and lose it. You could have had him challenge Roman to a match and lose. I mean, fucking Roman Reigns just went 30 minutes with Logan Paul. He can go 30 minutes with Logan Paul. He can't give Austin Theory 10 minutes. He can't go in there with 5 or 6 minutes with Austin Theory. You're trying to tell me that he's so not ready that, for starters, it was Triple H who hired the fucking guy at 21 years old anyway. That was a Triple H call. Because he was in Evolve at the time. He was already in the pipeline. That was part of his gimmick. So you telling me that Logan Paul can get 30 minutes of Roman Reigns' time. Austin Theory can't get 6? He can't get 5. He can't attack that guy during a promo and have Roman pin him. It's the same concept. You're getting the briefcase off of him if that was the plan. If the plan is to get the briefcase off of him, he could have put the briefcase up in a match and lost. He could have challenged Roman and lost. We still got Austin Theory, not champion, no briefcase. But at least you went the common sense route of trying to become the world champion. You didn't win. Maybe he gets fucked by the Usos. Maybe he gets fucked by Solo Sikoa. Maybe Sami Zayn proves his worth and takes the shot for Roman and Roman gets an advantage on that. However, you could have done 100 different things. You did not need to do what you did. By doing what you did, you saw there's malice in this kind of booking. This is a malicious intent. To okay this stupid ass idea goes to prove that you probably don't even want the fucking guy in the company at this point. When you have so many options to achieve the same directive and you pick the one that makes him look absolutely stupid, stupid as possible. I'm talking dumb as absolute fuck. When you pick that option, you go, that's never happened before. Yeah, because it's stupid. Nobody would even recognize anything like that. That's like when what was it? I think somebody might have done this, an Impact. They had this call your shot gauntlet or something like that. And they cashed it in for a tag team title match. You look at that shit and just roll your eyes like, what? You could be the world champion. You want to be a tag champion? Are you serious? Nobody would do that. That literally makes no sense. It doesn't resonate with the average person. So let's say you're still sipping the Kool-Aid. You're glass half full kind of person. Well, he's going to rebuild him. How do you rebuild somebody that's literally that fucking stupid? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Stand in front of the crowd and say what? Exactly. How is he going to explain not ever cashing in for the world title, but cashing in for the fucking US belt, a title he's already held? How do you explain that to the audience? In what way? In what way that gets you over as a character? That explains that this makes sense. You can't. You can't. You cannot explain why somebody who wants to become world champion all of a sudden doesn't want to be world champion anymore, now wants to be United States champion. You can't rationalize that. It literally makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Oh, but it increases the prestige of the United States title. Bruh, the moment Rollins drops the belt to somebody else, the prestige is going to be fucking ruined. Just like when John Cena had it and he dropped it. It's the guy who makes the belt, not the belt who makes the guy. So, ultimately, everybody wants to be world champion. Everybody. That should include the motherfuckers who have Money in the Bank briefcases. It's been clear for the last 3 months that Triple H does not like Austin Theory. He got something against him. Like I said, this is malicious. This is not just, I don't know what I'm doing and I dropped the ball kind of booking. This is literally, you sat around and came up with this crazy fucking idea to ruin this guy's fucking life. And then just try to hide behind the fact that he's only 25. I'm sorry. He could break his ankle tomorrow. He's in there taking bumps. He could tear a ligament in his leg or anything like that. Why take somebody who's perfectly healthy with a ton of potential and fucking bury them in this way? It literally makes no sense. You could have done any number of things. You could have did a spot where he tried to cash in on Roman and Roman kicked his ass and beat his ass so badly he never actually cashed in, but he got put in a stretcher. So he's been gone for 3 months. And everybody's going to forget that he even has the briefcase because he's going to be gone for so long. And then he tries to come back and win it at WrestleMania or something. Maybe just to get his ass kicked again. You could have done anything. You could have done anything. Except make him look like an absolute fool. Let's say you and your friends are going to rob a jewelry store. You got everything you need to rob a jewelry store. You got your clamps and your ropes and everything. You got your bag you put your loot in. And you go in there and you see all your fine diamonds and your fine gold. And then somebody in the goddamn jewelry store says, you know what? They'll probably hunt us down if we do this. Because we have to pawn this stuff. We have to take all this expensive jewelry and find somewhere and pawn it and make money. It'll be easier to track. Maybe if we steal all the fake jewelry, maybe we steal all the stainless steel shit, then we can at least say we did it. We did it. We successfully robbed a jewelry store. of all the stainless steel rings and the shit that's going to turn green as soon as you sweat in it. The mall jewelry. Would you do that? Would you run the risk of breaking into a jewelry store to steal fake jewelry? That's the exact same thing as I'm going to run the risk of winning the Money in the Bank briefcase where I could have tore a ligament in my leg or fell off and hurt myself to cash in on something other than being the world champion. It's dumb. It's dumb beyond words. It's dumb beyond recognition. I'm embarrassed. I said I was going to get Triple H until WrestleMania. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it. I have been criticizing little things here and there. This is one, if Vince McMahon had done this, right? Nobody would be making any excuses about what's going on here. Even if Tony Khan would have done it. There's enough people angry at Tony Khan right now that if he would have done something like this, nobody would have let him off the hook. If fucking, what was her name? Dixie Carter would have done something like this, nobody would let her off the hook. For Christ's sake, if Vince Russo would have come up with this, people would be eating him alive. They would be circling around him like Barracuda, taking chunks of his flesh. Nobody would buy into this. But all of a sudden, it's Triple H and it's trust the process, bro. What fucking process? What promo can he cut? What can he say, possibly, that would actually in any way convince you that cashing in a briefcase for the United States title was smart? What string of words can be put together that would make you say, you know what, that makes perfect sense. I would have done that too. It would have to be, my mom's on her deathbed and she just wanted to see me win a title. That would be, my kid's about to die. That would have to be it. That would have to be the promo. My grandma was on her deathbed watching this show and she says, I only got 10 minutes to live. I want to see you as a champion one last time. That would be the only way, the only logical reason why you would do something this stupid. I spent almost 20 minutes on this. It's the dumbest shit I've seen in years. This is prime rib stupidity. I have zero faith in Triple H's ability to book anybody in the future. I'm just looking at it right now. NXT has gone off the rails since he's kind of taken over. Brian Breaker's just kind of standing there barking. He ain't got no opponents. He's not in any feuds. He doesn't have any character, anything going for himself. Just nothing. It's all just work rate shit. Just go in there and have a work rate match with these NXT UK guys. Austin Theory stopped doing character stuff the moment Triple H took over. All his character shit was thrown out of the window. All he did was just stand there and get ribbed by either Roman Reigns or somebody else. It was just a complete and total 3-month burial for this fucking guy. If you think he's not buried, again, feel free to push the idea that he's going to actually get over after this. In what way? I'm very interested. In what way? Who is he going to work with that he couldn't have worked with the briefcase? Because they've killed the babyfaces. This ain't the first person that Triple H has put the kibosh to. He absolutely murdered Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Oh, but Drew couldn't win? I know Drew can't win. But why is Drew fucking singing after he lost? Again, you don't make people look fucking stupid. He looked like a fucking grapefruit out there. Singing after he lost. He looked dumb. And Triple H thought, okay, well, that'll turn the crowd around. What? What? That was stupid. Now, Drew McIntyre's essentially a corpse walking around here because nobody believes in him anymore. He got the biggest push possible leading into this match and he lost it. Which people can respect. But for Christ's sake, the singing. There's a way to do this stuff. There's a way to handle this shit. This shit has been going on in wrestling for years. Guys have been put in positions they had no business being in. Either they became a transitional champion or they got the belt. It didn't work. They take the belt from them. Or they do something else. They try to be more creative. They work them with somebody else. You know, there's literally other things that you can do. You don't fucking embarrass the fucking kid. You know, And I've seen every reasonable excuse of people online. Oh, if all the cash-ins have to fail. It's not like he was going to beat Roman. But fuck, he has to fight Roman. He didn't even fight him. How can you possibly sit there and say, yes, he won the Money in the Bank briefcase, but for some reason never fought Roman Reigns? Never. Why? Because Roman's never there. So what? Roman is there. He was there on Saturday. He was there. Okay, he was there standing in the ring multiple times. He got time to do jokes with Sami Zayn. He got time to do all kind of fucking promos and press conferences and all that kind of shit. He ain't got time to go ahead and take this fucking briefcase from this kid. At least give the kid the honor of, we're not going with you right now. We're going to take the briefcase. We're going to go in a different direction. Okay. But to have him look like a fucking idiot, you would have to be a mark to excuse this. And I'm not a mark, so this is not about to happen. This is bad storytelling. It's bad writing. It's bad character development. As a matter of fact, there has been no character development for Austin Theory since Vince McMahon left. Because he has no character anymore. They stripped him naked of anything. And they don't really allow him to have any sort of sweet comebacks to his promos anymore. He's just a guy that takes a drubbing on Raw. That's pretty much it. And now this is the ultimate. I've never seen Triple H build up anybody or rebuild anybody. Only thing Triple H has ever done with NXT is bring somebody up, quickly push them to the top, and then hope Vince snatches them. Because he's never had to book anybody long term. NXT has always been, Drew McIntyre comes into NXT. He's a hot signing. He wins a couple of matches against people, maybe some people who are on their way out. And then he wins the title. He's champion for a little while, drops the belt, and he gets snatched up to Raw or SmackDown. That's how NXT worked. So Triple H ain't never had to book anybody beyond that. He never had to book Aleister Black beyond Aleister Black being the NXT champion. He never had to book Andrade beyond being the NXT champion. Usually Vince was there to bail him out, to pull that person out of NXT before Triple H could fuck it up. All he did was push people right when they came in. And that was it. That was NXT's model. You push people as soon as they come in. You come in, big hoopla, parades for them. You push them immediately, give them the title immediately, give them a couple of main events, then Vince snatches them out. That is it. That saves you the trouble. You don't get to make the hard decision over who gets to go over, who's going to cut these promos, who's going to come down, who's going to go up. You don't have to make that decision. Vince is going to make that decision because he's going to pull this person out of the roster and then throw them in the mid-card as Raw or SmackDown or something like that. Triple H has never had to do this shit before. And now it's pretty obvious that looking at the roster and the lack of talent that is there to face Roman Reigns, there literally is nobody. There's literally nobody. You can't even get a one-off match out of most of these people. They've had, and most of it was Vince, right? But literally they don't even have nobody positioned to wrestle Roman. Nobody. They have nobody positioned to wrestle Roman on Raw or SmackDown. Nobody. Lashley just lost a match to Brock Lesnar. Fucking Sheamus can't beat Gunther. Gunther's the Intercontinental Champion. Seth Rollins is the United States Champion. Cody Rhodes is injured. I mean, those are your top 4 or 5 guys right there. Rey Mysterio can't beat the Intercontinental Champion, and he already lost to Roman. Finn Balor has already lost to Roman. Damian Priest just lost a match to fucking Carl Anderson. There's nobody. There's nobody on this roster that poses even an inkling of a challenge to Roman Reigns. And you mean to tell me that you couldn't have, for the sake of argument, just threw Austin Theory in there in the main event of Royal Rumble or whatever, just to work a match and lose. Just like everybody else. Just like Logan Paul just did. You couldn't do that. That was too much to ask for. Fucking retarded. Alright. 25 minutes, that's long enough. I had to get it off my chest. Let's go into Raw. Because Raw started out fine. And then it hit the skids almost immediately. The New Day and the Usos got into a bit of a debate. about the legacy of the tag team championship and being the record holders. So for the Usos, this was about, pressure. They're under such tremendous pressure because of who their family is and what it means to be an Anoa'i in the WWE. The New Day was able to counter that by saying, at least you had a path to follow. We had to do our own thing. We had to carve out our own niche. We had to struggle. People didn't believe in us. We got laughed at when we got put together. He talked about sitting in catering for weeks and weeks and weeks, creating a YouTube channel in order just to get attention from the company. So I thought that was pretty good. That was good, stiff stuff on both sides, because that is a different kind of pressure. Both pressure is a different kind of pressure, though. So the Usos, of course, take credit for Kofi Mania, saying that if they hadn't forfeit the match, Kofi never would have got to WrestleMania in the first place. And then they said that Kofi needs to forfeit the tag team title match so that they can break the New Day's record, which I thought was nice. It's kind of good heel shit to rub that in their faces like that. Kofi then said, what kind of father would I be if I forfeit? And talked about that the title run, the record, represents a time where New Day had to struggle, where they were stuck under this gimmick of being the positivity, preachers. Nobody thought it could work. They made it work. It was a little over the fourth wall there, but all right. But he says, and I think this was more important, that it represents the last time that the New Day was whole, meaning all three of them. And I thought that meant something. That's important. I like that. So then, as we're having this nice little struggle back and forth between the Usos and the New Day, fucking Riddle came out here. And he's making weed jokes. Hit my bong, bro. And the Usos are playing the bongs. I'm just kind of like, come on. I'm like, come on, man. What the fuck is going on here? We had something serious going on here. And then we just dropped some absolute comedic horseshit into this. They ended up in a 6-man tag with Matt Riddle and the New Day versus the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa with the Usos. I'm telling you, the best of 500, it's a real thing. They're just going to have fucking New Day and the Usos wrestle until the end of time. It's going to be longer than the Hatfields and the McCoys at some point, bro. It's just entirely too long. Why did they need to have this match? Did we really need this 6-man tag? The promo was fine. Up until Riddle's interference. We could have kept Riddle at home. We didn't need Riddle here. We could have used him doing something else. But whatever. JBL came out there. For some reason, his hair had been dyed and slicked. I just looked at that and it was hilarious. He didn't say much except diss the town and the sports teams and all that kind of stuff. So then we got Baron Corbin versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander has a new theme. This is the first time I've seen this guy in months. I wonder what mop closet they pulled him out of. Where did they find him hiding? Was he in the lockers? Was he hiding behind the plunger in the bathroom or something? Was he in the dirty linen or something like that? I mean, he probably just shows up, punches in, and just collects his paycheck on his way out. Did somebody catch him sitting in the car and like, hey, you've been here this whole time? Get out there. Where the hell he been? Anyway, Baron Corbin wins. So what? Seth Rollins, this was before they made Austin Theory look like an idiot. Seth Rollins is out there. He didn't get 2 words out before Judgment Day came to the ring. At this point, we think that Finn Balor is about to challenge Seth Rollins in the open challenge. Because Finn Balor is still mad that Seth Rollins injured him when he won the Universal title. And said that you cost me gold, I'm going to cost you gold. At this point, the OC came out there and their super boring theme song. They have the single most boring theme song in all of pro wrestling. It is so boring. It is the single most boring, generic, garbage theme. It's awful. this crowd is already dead. And this is a dead fucking crowd. This crowd was dead all night. I think anything other than a bomb scare wouldn't get these people to move. So the OC are out there. They're facing off with the Judgment Day. AJ Styles talks about how this thing is far from over and that, you know, it's always been 3-on-4. And they did try to find somebody to counteract Rhea Ripley, and they haven't been able to find them. But instead, that person found the OC. Then Rhea Ripley goes down and she's attacked from behind, and the hooded figure removes the hood, and it's Mia Yim. It's Mia Yim. Mia Yim is back. Oh boy. Oh boy. She got no reaction. She got the same reaction Cole Carter got on Dynamite. But considering nobody got any reaction all night except Seth Rollins, I'm not really all that surprised. She got no reaction. She beat Rhea Ripley with a kendo stick, ran Rhea Ripley off. Apparently she's now a member of the OC. They cut a promo later where she basically promised to buy the boys a bunch of beer. I'm not a fan of Mia Yim at all. I don't really like her work. They tried to put her over as one of the toughest girls in the business and all this kind of stuff. Again, it's just Triple H. He's got an infatuation with all these people who work the independents, you know, without gauging charisma. They're just bodies, essentially. It's not about can she be a top superstar in the company. It's just, can you fill up time on this show? You know, I guess you could. I guess you could fill up time on this show, so you're welcome to chew up some scenery. But this is a nice spot, you know, I guess. But it also tells you that they're not serious about the OC. Because they put fucking Mia Yim in the group, who has no connection to either any of these people or the Bullet Club or anything like that. But then again, that was always going to be the case anyway. There was never going to be like a woman who could fit into the Bullet Club. It's a sausage party, you know, except for Peter, you know. And she doesn't really fit as much as she's just kind of like window dressing. So you were never going to get what you wanted. But I would think they would have got somebody who was a physical match for Rhea. Instead, they tried to go with, you know, tough and from the outside. But, okay. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not a fan of Mia Yim, and I think it's going to flop. That's just me personally. Because I think, again, Triple H doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Look at everybody else Triple H has brought in recently. They're not exactly burning the world up, are they? It's another Tony Khan style. You give them a nice little push when they come in, then you beat them, and then you try to figure out what to do after that. The Judgment Day were pretty frustrated later about this whole thing. Finn Balor says that they've only created more problems, and there's always going to be more of the same. Rhea Ripley said that they can bring an army if they want to. Nobody's going to stop her. And then they got a little bit of a pose down, a little bit stare down, rather, between her and Bianca. I like that. They planted some seeds for the Bianca-Rhea Ripley match. Okay. Hopefully they're not trying to rush that and they're not trying to do it too soon. But, okay. I dig that. All right. Third match on the show was Otis defeating Elias. Cold match. Nobody cares about Elias. He went through all the trouble of getting rid of Ezekiel and killing that storyline, taking Kevin Owens off TV because it is what it is. Now Elias just doing jobs to Otis and moving on. Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka came out there because, again, this feud with Damage Control is not over. Is not over. All right. Apparently they got into an argument in a parking lot. And now they got more stuff to say to Damage Control. They're going to say it to their faces. So Damage Control comes out there. They brag about how Bianca still has not beaten Bayley, even though she beat Bayley twice. But what she meant to say is that she hasn't pinned Bayley. She did beat Bayley, I think, in a ladder match, and she beat her in the last man standing match, but she has not pinned Bayley. But Bayley has pinned Bianca twice. That was Dakota Kai talking, so you know it wasn't good. Io and Asuka start yelling at each other in Japanese. Asuka called baka baka baka, which, you know, if you watched enough anime, you know somebody usually get a lump across their head to get hit with a comically sized mallet or something like that after somebody gets called a baka, which just means that it's kind of an idiot or stupid. It was pretty funny. Then Bianca, they got into a fight after Io called Asuka a bitch, which is in clear English. They fight. Bianca then called out for War Games, and then Nikki Cross attacked Bianca from behind and helped Damage Control. So later on, they give Nikki Cross the talk. She gets the talk. How they want her in Damage Control because she's just like them. She was left behind, cast out. Nobody really believed in her. So they want to give her an opportunity to join Damage Control. And Nikki just kind of keeps cackling because now she's a supervillain. And they give her the mission of destroying Dana Brooke in order to sort of prove herself worthy of being in Damage Control. So she does so in the 6th match on the show. Nikki Cross wrecks Dana Brooke, wins the 24/7 title. Okay. So now Nikki Cross is a member of Damage Control. And as she's walking backstage, she's laughing, just cackling. And she tries to throw the 24/7 title in the garbage. And instead dropped it on the floor. Which is even funnier. Which is even funnier. What makes that even funnier is because Dana Brooke over the weekend. So that would be the weekend of November the 5th, November the 6th, maybe the 4th or something like that. She did a little bit of an interview where she's like, oh, you know, all these women are talking about how they want a women's Intercontinental title. How about we transition the 24/7 title into a women's Intercontinental Championship? That would be great, right? That was kind of the gist of what she was saying. The very next Monday, they're like, nah, we throwing that bitch in the garbage. Look, I'm not married to the 24/7 title, but for fuck's sake, when Nikki Cross, who literally just lost her re-debut match to Bianca Belair and looked like a goddamn goof, because, you know, again, Triple H don't know how to build anybody or anything or tell any stories. When she squashes you to win a title that she doesn't even want, then that belt is meaningless. And to be quite honest, Dana Brooke is meaningless too. I'm really looking at somebody who on a chopping block when it comes to Dana Brooke. At least Nikki Cross was, you know, she was an NXT, Triple H's girl on NXT. You know, he kind of protected her. He kind of pushed her when it came to sanity. So, he's actually going out of his way to make her okay. Now, he might not cut Dana Brooke anytime soon because he needs the bodies. But, it's certain that her time doing anything on television is over. And now the 24/7 title is apparently dead. Unless, you know, they probably scoop it up and have R-Truth do something with it, which probably not because he's injured. So that belt is probably dead. So I'm pretty sure the 24/7 gang, Tamina, Akira Tozawa, R-Truth, Dana Brooke, and everybody else who's been surrounding that belt for the last couple of months under Vince, they're just about to fill in the jobber roles on the roster, which is fine because that's pretty much what they were anyway. But, I'm not sad to see the 24/7 title go. As a matter of fact, I don't care. It was sort of an extra belt that we don't really need and a concept that we didn't really need. Since Triple H is going in a different direction where, it's not going to be as much comedy, we don't really need the comedy title. But I gotta say, the 24/7 title, if this is the end for it, it had a good run. I think it probably should have gotten dumped maybe a year or so ago. But you can't get over that it has some really classic moments with the 24/7 belt and R-Truth and Drake Maverick. That stuff was really fun. The Truth and Carmella stuff, you know, a lot of it was really fun. The 24/7 stuff. It was really fun shit. But like all things, it ran its course. You know, and it became a little bit repetitive, and it needs to change a little bit. And we don't really need joke championships, you know, prop titles or anything like that. We can start shedding some of these things. So getting rid of the 24/7 title is a step in the right direction. Is getting rid of all of these extra belts. Unfortunately, something tells me that they're probably going to have some matter of women's secondary title. They probably won't call it a women's Intercontinental title. They'll probably rename it something else. But something tells me that that will be coming. I think Triple H is going to get absolutely bullied into pushing more women. I was going to save this and talk about it during the live stream, but I'm probably not going to remember it then. But you guys have probably been paying attention to what's going on with Billy Corgan and his comments about why there's not been another Empower. And I basically said this, and I think I said it to Society Reviews in our DMs or something like that. I probably didn't say anything on Twitter. But Evolution is probably going to end up being like the WNBA of WWE, where it's going to be a show that they run just to take a loss, you know, because the show's not going to make any fucking money. It's going to cost them more money than it'll probably make. But it's going to be a loss leader that they can write off as being for the cause. You know, it's going to be a success in the political social circle rather than financially. Triple H dodged the question of do we need to have women's pay-per-views. I think it was last year when he was asked about it, and he said, like, I thought the idea was to get, you know, men and women on the same show. I didn't think the women wanted their own show. I thought we were beyond that. And then they kind of said, like, oh, he was so tone deaf. So they're really going to push him for Evolution. And since he's been this fan service booker that, okay, well, this is what they want, this is what they're going to get, then what I'm guessing is that he's going to bend over and do the Evolution thing eventually. He might not do it anytime soon. You know, he may do it next year, but he's going to do it. He's already talking about bringing back the Mae Young Classic. So he's probably going to run an Evolution type show, waste some company resources, and they're going to write it off as being for the cause. If they're going to do it, if they're going to do it, they might as well do it during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They do it as like a charity show or something like that, where they can give money to, because they're not going to make any money off this. So they might as well just turn it into a non-profit venture where they sign up money for breast cancer awareness or some shit and just do it and write it off on your taxes. And I see it coming, because they're eating Billy Corgan alive over his comments about, you know, Empower and whether the women that are free agents are worthy of carrying a 3-hour show and whether they can work the style and all that kind of stuff. It's just, he's been eaten alive. And Triple H don't want that. He's in a bigger position than Billy Corgan is. And his company, and he's also got more goodwill than Billy Corgan. So Billy Corgan has fucked up the goodwill amongst a lot of people who are fans of the NWA. I don't want to get into it too much because I want to talk about that stuff on the live stream. But Billy Corgan has ruined the reputation of the NWA, his own reputation of the NWA. I don't mean the Flair, dusty stuff from the 80s. He can't touch that. I'm talking his reincarnation of the NWA that people had potential for, that people believed in. He's ruined that. He ruined that 2 years ago, but he's ruined that. And Triple H doesn't want to. He's too fresh. He's too new. Vince will take the slings and the arrows. He was 40 years into the business. You know, he'd tell these motherfuckers, no, I'm not wasting money on another women's show. I'm not doing it. No. And then people just be like, oh, I hate you, Vince. And they run to their room, slam the door, and watch Raw. But if it's Triple H, he can't, I don't think he's a daughter dad. You know? I don't think he can take the fans being mad at him. Oh, Papa H, how could you be this way to me? You're so mean. Why won't you just let the girls have their own show? And he's gonna be like, oh, all right, I guess. Find a small building, you know, something like that, you know. But if any company can pull off a women's only pay-per-view, WWE can do it. And it's not going to work. At least I don't think so. I don't see it working. But they're going to push for it. So they're probably, so I can see right now there's probably going to be a lot of elevating the women. They've already trademarked the Queen of the Ring tournament, which of course they should bring that back because the King of the Ring exists. So they're probably going to end up elevating a lot of the women's stuff. So I can see them getting rid of this 24/7 belt if they're going to bring in some kind of other women's title, which might be the best way of creating another women's champion so that Bianca can go unmolested with this damage control stuff and they can get another belt and disappear with it. Same thing with kind of with Ronda Rousey. But then you have to create two belts. You have to create a Raw version and a SmackDown version, right? So you would theoretically have to create two mid-card belts for the women. That's just too much. You know, that's just too many belts. Maybe we need to just put the kibosh on the women's titles. Just keep it as it is. I'll accept women's tag team titles. I'll accept that. I'll rock with that. I don't really like it, but whatever. I can roll with that. And the two singles belts. We don't need mid-card belts for the women too. I think once we start going that route, we need to have two sets of mid-card belts. And then, of course, NXT is going to want their own mid-card belt for the women. So you're introducing, at that point, 3 more championships. It's ridiculous. It's way too much. Way too many titles in one company. All right, moving on. Austin Theory defeated Shelton Benjamin, which, of course, didn't do any good for him, considering what happened to him later that night. The Miz. So The Miz cut a promo where he said that Johnny Gargano, his story was false, that it was a smear job, that it was a deep fake, but it's the best deep fake in the world because his dad believed it. Miz's dad believed that The Miz is truly paying off Dexter Lumis. Then he says he fully intends to file a defamation lawsuit on WWE and Johnny Gargano for airing that video. Johnny Gargano came out, said that he cannot start this match with The Miz without telling the truth on something that he did. Then he says that the kidnappings and the abductions and all this kind of stuff has done great for The Miz's career. The Miz's agent has been very popular. And The Miz had a meeting with a network executive. I think this was a network executive or a filmmaker or something like that. And he said that he hired this person to pretend to be a network executive or whatever to get The Miz into a business dinner where it was recorded Project Veritas style. And this woman, off the record, because that really means something in the real world. If you say off the record, that doesn't really mean shit. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as off the record, by the way. If you talk to the media, that's off the record, off the record. No, there's no off the record. If you tell them anything, they can report it. So The Miz is like off the record, admitted to paying Dexter Lumis, but he had a really good reason why he stopped paying him. His really good reason why he stopped paying Dexter Lumis is because WWE corporate was getting a little too involved. They were starting to call the police, and they were starting an investigation. They were looking too much into it. He got scared and he said, you know what, I'm not paying this fucking guy. It's over. You know, the experiment is over. And he says, well, you know, technically, Dexter Lumis didn't really do his job. You know, I pulled it. I decided not to pay him anymore. The project's over. So he's not going to get paid anymore. And that was it. That's why he decided not to pay him. Because the company was starting to investigate and corporate was getting the police involved. And he was like, I don't want all that kind of heat. Yeah, man, I got what I needed, which is the increase in attention for me. So he said that Dexter Lumis should be paying him because he increased Dexter Lumis's profile. This was wild. This was absolutely crazy. A lot of people. So I actually didn't hate this. I like the Project Veritas style. Like Miz being a dumb villain who kind of just admits that he's doing this because he's proud of it, and it was a gimmick to increase his own visibility to get some sympathy for himself, and he got him some sympathy roles, and you know, he's trying to cash in on this. I get it. You know, I get it. I respect the Miz's hustle. You know, he learned that being a victim, you can benefit. You know, we live in a victim economy. You know, this would be something great for Miz to actually cut a promo on. Like, we live in a victim economy. There's so many people now who can benefit if they say, you know, I got fired because this guy's a racist, or this guy's a sexist, or this guy's a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever. It doesn't have to be true, but you can increase somebody's profile, or you could damage somebody else's career if you just say, I'm a victim. Look at what was that guy named? Ray Fisher? The guy who called Jeff Johns a racist because Cyborg said booyah in the movie. He's the only one saying booyah. Like, who the fuck? Come on. That's racism. You know? It was racist that Cyborg didn't have a penis. Because his body was destroyed. His bottom half of his body was destroyed. He didn't have a penis. I don't think that was Ray Fisher that had a problem with that. But it was some black writer for DC Comics that noted that Cyborg didn't have a penis. As if I would give a shit. Like, the dude, it's literally a story of a dude who lost his body. Like, his body's been destroyed. You know, and he looks like a freak. He's a boy who was once flesh and blood, who is now like half machine. Like 60% machine. Him not having a dick, it's pretty important, for sure. It's worth mentioning, but it's not worth obsessing over. You know, like these people. But my point is, when you have that victimhood, you know, thing that you can use, you can monetize it. You know, comic book writers and actors and all these people have been utilizing it. And if you're a straight white male like The Miz, what can you do except be victimized by another straight white male? Maybe The Miz should just come out and say like he's Jewish or something like that. He should wear like a tiny hat or something like that. That would be great. I don't know. I was just coming up with crazy stuff, man. Maybe he ought to go full SJW and be like every other Hollywood actor out there, unintentionally racist and all kind of dumb shit. You know, completely elitist and detached from reality. Oh, I love illegal immigration because they get to watch my kids, and my kids get to learn Spanish from their nannies. I mean, isn't that great? You know, like that woman from The View. Like, if you get rid of all the illegals, who's going to wash your car? Who's going to take care of your kids when you have to go to work? You know, who's going to pick your strawberries? That should have never worked. That should have never worked. That shit dumb. That's some dumb shit. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I'm kind of really disappointed in this dumbass show. All right, Johnny Gargano and The Miz had an absurdly long match. Miz wins, which surprised the hell out of me. They did some chicanery where Miz gets pulled under the ring and he's got a weapon and he ends up binking Johnny Gargano with it. Ultimately, Loomis attacked Miz with a chair after the match. So there. That's Monday Night Raw, for the most part. The Women's War Games match apparently is going to be Damage Control, which now includes Nikki Cross, versus Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. I'm guessing Candice LeRae will join their team. And I'm guessing the final member of the Damage Control team will probably be Doudrop. Now, that's not exactly the people I would have put in Damage Control in terms of their team. But I'm okay with that. You know, I'm all right with it. I don't know who else would fit with Alexa, Asuka, Candice LeRae, and Alexa Bliss. I don't know who you put with them. It's a really tough question. Who do you put with them to make it a stronger team? I don't know. Maybe they pull over to SmackDown as like Liv Morgan or Shotzi or somebody like that to make the team stronger. But I don't know. Maybe they want to bring in another woman. It's going to be another call in. Some people have said it's going to be Sasha Banks and Naomi. Oh boy. Look, I don't mean to piss on anybody's parade or anything like that. But if it's Sasha Banks and Naomi, I mean, we're fucked, right? God, could you imagine if Sasha Banks' ego was out of control and she knew that Vince McMahon liked her? Just imagine how insane she's going to be if Triple H is there. I mean, my God. You talk about Vince being a big softie for Sasha Banks. Jesus Christ, you think Triple H is probably her literal birth father. He's going to let her run rampant on that fucking roster. And she probably can't wait for it. But there's no guarantee she's going to be coming back. But that's what a lot of people seem to think it's going to be. It's going to be Bianca, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, and Naomi. Which will be a nice team. But the other team has fucking Nikki Cross and Doudrop on it, you know. But there's also the idea that it could be Candice LeRae. Some people think Candice LeRae is going to join Damage Control because she does have her heel theme in terms of the theme that she uses on Raw. I know some people don't care about that, and I don't really care about that, but she is still using her heel theme. And she is bland and colorless and could use a character. So having her sort of turn her back on Bianca and all of them to join Damage Control would be interesting. That's not a character as much as it's an angle. But, okay. You know, whatever. But the women getting their match announced first. I'm not really all that surprised by it. I guess we're going to announce the match for the men on Friday. It's going to be Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes and probably 2 other guys, you know, or, I don't know. Are they feuding with a group of people right now? I don't know what group of, like, I think the Brawling Brutes are the group of people they've been feuding with. So it had to be Sheamus, Ridge, and Butch and 2 other guys versus the Bloodline. But who would those 2 other guys be? I don't know. You know, maybe Kevin Owens and somebody else? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of SmackDown, the World Cup. They announced on a commercial on Monday Night Raw that the World Cup winner will face the Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. Which I kind of threw out there. So it was nice that the World Cup champion gets something. And it's a match for the Intercontinental title. So it elevates the Intercontinental Championship without butchering the entire concept. So even if Gunther wins, it's fine. You know, because you won something and winning the World Cup. So I'm excited for that. Raw was absolutely abysmal. It was boring. The angles didn't work. They shit all over young Austin Theory. Just pulverized the fucking guy. Which, to be quite honest, all Triple H has been doing is pulverizing people. I mean, even if you say, look, you know, Austin Theory, not that big of a deal. What he did to Drew McIntyre, you know, what he pulled on Nikki Cross, going through all the trouble of bringing Nikki Cross back, giving her a main event spot just for her to lose on the opening match of the very next fucking week. It was dumb. It was so dumb. It's all kind of dumbass decisions like this that really, really affects my enjoyment of Triple H's Monday Night Raw. But, you know, at least Vince's Raws were, if they were boring and stupid, they were still fun. I didn't feel a lot of maliciousness behind that. But now you see Triple H, who's supposed to be the Mr. Logical Booker. I care about pro wrestling. And he just does absolute dumb shit. You know, that really doesn't make any sense. And people try to make excuses for it because, well, you know, he's still learning on the job or something. It's like, no, this dude's been doing this far too long. And there's a history of him putting the screws to guys like this. Anyway, let's get out of here. I've had you guys long enough. Be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. We'll talk to you guys later. This is MagMongoSlade, and I'll peace out.